I'm Sarai.
And I'm Haley.
And this is Seamwork Radio. Welcome back to Seamwork Radio, where we share practical ideas for building a creative process so you can sew with intention and joy. And today we've got a special sewing roundup episode for you where we talk about the things we're making, what we're excited about, what new things we're trying, and answer any listener questions. All right, well, let's dive right in. We have a listener question, which came from Jedi Pencil on Spotify. And this person said, you've previously done episodes on sewing in bits. Do you have any new ideas on how to carve out time to sew and not fail sewing the garment? LOL. That's a great question. Do you have any new tips for Jedi Pencil?
Yes. So something that I do when I'm trying to encourage myself to do something that I'm not doing enough of or something is I try to think of triggers that will remind me to do that thing. So for me, I have a couple of triggers. On Tuesday nights, my husband goes out with his friends and I sew that night. It's my sewing, my studio time. And so that's a bigger one for me that I get guaranteed every week. I get 2 hours of sewing time for myself then. And then the other thing that I do is I oftentimes will, when I log off of work, lots of times I'll have 15 minutes before I have to start making dinner. I know it's not a lot of time, but you would be surprised by when I'm able to do that, even 3 times a week, how much sewing I can accomplish in 1 week just by sewing those, 3 15-minute chunks. So that is what I would recommend, whatever the trigger is for you. Maybe it's after you do the dishes at night or something, just kind of habit stack them all together.
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds like habit stacking. Yeah, that's a really good one. For me, I think one of the things that I've noticed it makes it difficult to sew in small chunks that you can overcome is that kind of setup time where you have to figure out okay, what was I doing? Where was I? What was the next step? So if you can find a way to kind of set yourself up for whatever the next step is when you're finishing a portion of your sewing, and that makes it a lot easier to get right into it, which makes it a lot easier to sew in small increments. Because if all you need to do is install the zipper, but you have to spend 15 minutes looking for the zipper and remembering where you were and if you needed to finish the edge first and what you were doing, then you eat up that whole 15 minutes that you could have been actually installing the zipper. So I think whatever you can do to set yourself up for success ahead of time and just make it really easy to dive in is one of my tips that has been really helpful to me lately. And then I think another one, this is maybe just tangentially related, but I think just having some really easy things to do, little projects that you can work on maybe concurrently with other ones that are very easy can be helpful, even if it's a hand sewing thing or even a different craft. I think that's a kind of a fun approach to it as well. I've been doing that myself. So those are my 2 tips. And then, of course, we've had lots of other tips over the years on the podcast. And one of them that's been really effective for me lately that I've been leaning into is, I've mentioned many times, having cutting days and sewing days and making those separate. This time I planned out all of my projects and I had 6 different projects and I cut them all out before I sewed anything. And that just made it so easy to dive in on all of my projects for the season. So if you haven't tried that yet, it's a great way to get to a point where you can sew in smaller chunks, smaller increments.
Yeah, I love that tip. I'm going to have to start implementing that for myself.
Yeah. Well, that was a really good question. So thank you to Jedi Pencil on Spotify for answering that or for asking that. You can leave questions there in a comment if you use Spotify, or you can use it. You can leave it in a review on Apple Podcasts, and we will answer your questions. We'll either use it for an icebreaker question, or we'll answer it in one of these roundup episodes if you leave one for us. All right. Well, let's get to our first segment. Go ahead, Haley. You've got the first one here.
Okay. So this segment we like to call "What Would You Sew?" So, Sarah, if you were making a loungewear set right now, what would you sew?
I know the answer to this because so I have a pair of pajamas that I love. They're ready to wear. I didn't make them, but I love them so much, and I have worn them into the ground. And because I am always taking the dogs out while wearing my pajamas, they've gotten kind of stained and grubby, and I can't seem to get them clean again. So I need to replace them. So I've been thinking a lot about making a pair of pajamas. And I just want a classic pair of menswear style pajamas. So our leaf pajama set is one that I'm considering making. Just very classic, super classic. And there are two options I'm considering for fabric. One is a stripe. So I'm really looking for like a navy, white, and red menswear stripe shirting of some kind. So I really like stripes for pajamas. My current pair of pajamas is like a light blue with a white stripe, which are very cute, but they did get very dirty. So I want something in a darker color so that if it does get stained, it won't be as visible. So that's why I'm looking for like navy and red and maybe a little white. So that's one thing I'm considering. The other one is this is kind of hard to describe, but kind of like a menswear-ish tiled print, like a medallion style print, is something I'm looking for. I have not been able to find it yet. I haven't been able to find one that I really like that's in an appropriate fabric for pajamas. So if any of you come across something like that, I really like navy blue would be nice, but also warm colors. I really like browns and things like that. But I just want something really kind of menswear-ish and classic.
Have you looked on Mood?
I have looked on Mood. I haven't found anything there yet, but their stock changes all the time. So
it does, and they tend to be a good place to look for shirtings.
Yeah,
which is why I suggest it.
So that's what I'm leaning towards right now. What about you?
I love leaf. It's such a good pattern. It's so classic.
Yeah.
It's funny that you should ask this, or that I should ask this, and that you should ask it in return, because I was just thinking about this yesterday. I had I try to get dressed for work every day, even when I work from home. But yesterday was like a very lazy day. So I got semi-dressed. I wore leggings and I wore a sweatshirt. That it's like a quarter zip sweater. And I was like, you know what? This isn't fancy, but it's cute. And in my Zoom meetings, it's like, good enough. So I was like, I should make a set or something, a couple more things that are in this same vein. So I was considering I really want to make a pair of Palmer pants because they're wide leg. I feel like in like a ponte or like a sweatshirt fleece or a French terry, they just look really like nice and elevated.
Yeah.
And I either want to make a Lex sweater or a Cove sweater to go with it. I have this really great, it's a kind of like a sweat. On one side, it looks like a sweatshirt, like fleece, but instead of being fleecy on the wrong side, it has like a very low pile. And I've been wanting something to make out of that for a while. And I feel like some kind of like elevated sweater.
Like a velour? Is that what it's like?
You know what? It looks more like a faux fur than a velour. I know it sounds like so weird, but it looks really it looks a lot nicer than I'm describing it. It looks pretty luxe. It looks expensive.
Yeah.
And I think for so long I've been like, something that like utilizes the right side, wrong side-ness of it. But honestly, I just want to make like a sweater. That's really cozy on the inside.
Yeah. That sounds really nice. I have a bunch of sweatshirt type fabric that I've had for quite a while, and I've been trying to think of what I want to do with it. I have to see how much I have because I think it would be nice for a set, but I don't know if I have enough for a set. I have one that's in like that kind of raisiny color that's like a brownish, purplish color, deep, deep kind of raisin color. And I have a sweatshirt fleece, and then I have a like a quilted knit that I could use as for like cuffs and things, which I think would be really cute, but I haven't really figured out what I want to do with it. I really like it though. I like the color quite a bit.
Yeah.
So what are you sewing right now, and what are you going to be sewing next?
I'm sewing something very boring right now. I bought a bunch of toweling, and I'm making some like tea towels out of it. Mill End, which is like one of our local fabric stores here, has a whole bunch of toweling right now.
Yeah.
That's really like cute. And my tea towels were getting kind of sad.
Yeah.
You know how they get.
Yeah.
So I just like bought a few yards, and I've been, they're hemmed on two sides. I'm just like cutting them to length and hemming them.
Yeah.
But it's been like a fun little like talk about like 15 minutes of sewing. Like I can make two in 15 minutes. It's great.
That's great.
And that's what it's kind of like a little palette cleanser project for me right now. What about you? What are you sewing?
Well, I just finished this skirt that I'm wearing, which is a Desi skirt, which I made in black cotton silk. And I trimmed it with this wide black Chantilly lace. And it's really pretty. It's like a slip skirt.
It's so cute.
Really comfy and pretty and easy to pair with sweaters and cardigans and stuff. I love it. So we're recording this ahead of time. So these projects, if you want to see them, they're all on YouTube already by the time you listen to this, so you can see everything. And I'll be done with the projects that I have not yet sewn in reality right now as we're recording this. But the other thing I'm working on is a Bryn dress, which is like a very simple pinafore style dress. Really, really simple. And I'm making it in this gorgeous tweed fabric, this wool tweed, with kind of shades of brown and pinkish colors and cream, and it's really, really pretty. And then I'm lining it in the same cotton silk blend fabric, which is like a Robert Kaufman cotton silk blend fabric, which I love. I'm in love with this fabric. It's great. If you're looking for a good lining fabric, do you know what it's called, Haley?
I think it's called Radiance.
Radiance, is that what it's called? I don't remember. But it is cotton silk, and it looks a little bit like it's satiny. It looks like silk charmeuse a little bit. But because it has the cotton in it, it's much easier to work with. Not quite as shiny as a silk charmeuse would be, but it's great for linings and for, a bias cut skirt like the one I'm wearing.
It's a truly fabulous fabric. I have bought it in the past in bulk, and I still have a bunch of black.
It's great
in my stash. I just checked; it is called it's Radiant Silk Cotton.
Does it come in different colors? I just have the black.
It comes in black and it comes in a white, and I have seen it in other colors. I think that the other colors might be kind of like seasonal. At one point, I had it in like kind of like a plummy color.
I wonder, the white one you could probably dye, though. That would be fun. You could probably do some cool dyeing projects with it.
Yeah.
I love a cotton silk blend. Cotton and silk are just, I think when those two are blended together, you kind of get a best of both worlds situation.
Yeah, a little bit stable, and then like the luster of the silk. It's very pretty.
Yeah, and silk holds dye so well, so you can often, if you find cotton silk blends, you can find really beautiful colors.
Yes, on Robert Kaufman's website, they only have it in black and in white, but it's PFD, so it's prepared for dye.
So you could dye it any color. That's a fun project. Maybe.
Ooh.
Maybe I'll think about that one, percolate a little bit. All right, well, yeah, that's my next project. That's what I'm working on right now. And then after that, I'm working on a bloom blouse.
Oh, cool.
The other one I have cut out right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of undecided on my next project. I think I'm going to make an eye mask, for like blocking light. Because I need to sew another one of those right now. And that seems like another little palette cleanser. I'm still percolating on my next few projects after that. So I'm killing the time with some palette cleansers.
Yeah.
Well, Sari, is there anything new that you've been trying lately you'd like to share?
Yes, actually, so right now I actually just started this project. And again, you'll see this on YouTube if you want to see the finished thing by the time this comes out. But I am working on making my first leather bag
Oh, cool.
right now, which is so fun. So, Janine, who is one of our sample sewers, she makes a lot of the samples that we use in our photo shoots, and she also has been really helpful on our video shoots as well. She came in one day and she had this leather journal cover that she had made, and she told me she got it from buckleguy.com, which I think I've mentioned already on the podcast. And they have kits. They have leather kits that you can buy, and it comes with everything you need to put together the project. So I bought a kit for making this little mini tote bag, and I bought it in candy apple red, and I finally started on it last night. So I had to watch some YouTube videos to figure out how to do like saddle stitching, and it's all very new to me, very different. Learned how to burnish the leather and all that kind of stuff, and I've been working on it at my dining room table, and it's really fun. It's very different from other things that I'm working on. So a nice little palette cleanser between other projects, and it's going to take me a little while to finish it, but I think it's going to be really, really pretty when it's done.
That's awesome. I did some leather working before I did shoemaking, and what I liked about it is that it felt like almost more like sculpture than sewing.
Yeah.
With sewing, you feel like you're taking the 2D and you're making something that's 3D, but I felt like with shoemaking and with leather working, a lot of time it moves into 3D so much more quickly that it feels like much more sculptural. And I felt like it used a different part of my brain.
Yeah. I do want to try shoemaking as well. We were talking about that the other day, and I think that'd be really fun.
I love it. It's so fun.
Yeah. What about you? Are you trying anything new lately?
This isn't really new, but it's something I definitely do in phases in my life. I've been in like a really big like decluttering zone or like lately. And so what I've been doing is I've been picking like 2 zones a week that I declutter. And when I say zone, I mean like pretty like a drawer or like something like that. So like I did like underneath my kitchen sink. You guys know.
Yeah.
Like how that can be.
Yeah, that can be crazy.
And my next one I'm doing is the top drawer in my bathroom. And I've just been like picking. It's great because it's like an organizational project. I've tried to pick places that are like high traffic so that I really like feel the impact in my day-to-day life so that I feel extra motivated to continue doing it. And it's been a really manageable way to tackle some like home project stuff. So I recommend it to you. Set a timer and give yourself like 20 minutes. You don't need to go buy organizational stuff. Just like make it the best you can within the time and the tools you have available to you.
I need to do that. I've got like piles of stuff in my office right now, books and all kinds of stuff that I need to declutter and organize. I
think that we like can sometimes, we meaning me and probably other people, can make things into bigger projects than they need to be. Like, oh, I don't want to do it unless I can do it perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a real barrier to just like getting things done.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I feel motivated to go back and like, buy like a little organizer or whatever the case may be. But just like, what is it? Don't let
perfect be the enemy of good. Is that what you're going to say?
Yes. That's what I've been really trying to embody in my decluttering process lately.
I feel that. I have a lot of toiletries that I'll have like, half an inch in a bottle left, and I don't want to throw it out because it feels wasteful. But at the same time, you just start accumulating all of these things, and it's practically garbage, and it's just sitting there in a drawer somewhere.
I know.
All right. Well, what's one little thing that you want to recommend to people? Do you have any recommendations this month?
yes, this is related to the decluttering, but also related to something that like someone was talking about at Stitch Fest, which is our like annual event that we have at Seamwork. We host it here in Portland. So definitely keep an eye out on that. We talk about it in advance, and it's like an amazing event. But we were talking about thread and how long thread lasts. And the presenter recommended doing like a little test of your thread that like, you know, when you've had thread for 10 to 15 years, that it might be become brittle and, you know, seams may pop more easily. And I've always like taken this to heart with like vintage thread and things like this, but it got me thinking. I was like, there is thread in my stash that is 10 to 15 years old for sure. And so that I put it onto my decluttering list. I was like, next thing I'm doing, I'm going to go through my thread. I'm going to do a break test on my thread. So if you have old thread in your stash, maybe consider doing a little cleanup. You can reserve it for things like hemming or hand sewing, but any kind of seam that there may be some tension on, you don't want to put all of the time and effort into sewing something beautiful only to have it bust at the seams the first time you wear it.
Yeah, I thought that was a really great tip. I don't have any thread that's that old because all my sewing stuff used to be here at the office, and I kind of started fresh when we moved. So all my thread is pretty new, but I thought that was a really, really great tip. Maybe I should like label it with when I bought it.
That would be smart.
Since I don't have that much. I have quite a bit, but not that much. Well, my recommendation for people, I read a book recently that I really enjoyed, and that was very helpful to me. So I thought I would recommend it to you guys too, if you kind of struggle with the same things that I do. This one I heard about through Oliver Burkeman, who, if you're not familiar with him, he wrote a book called 4,000 Weeks. That was really wonderful. I love that book. And he has a great newsletter as well. And he's frequently recommended this book, which is called Thyme Surfing, which is by Paul Lumens, and he is a Zen Buddhist. And the subtitle is The Zen Approach to Keeping Time on Your Side. So it does have a little bit of I'm very interested in Buddhism and in Zen in particular. And it does have that bent to it, but it's not in any way limited to that. It's really about how to kind of be in the moment with your time. And it had some really great suggestions how to kind of be present with each thing that you're doing and be fully there rather than trying to multitask all the time. How to kind of go through life without being beholden to lists and just kind of following your intuition a little bit more. I found it very helpful to me as somebody who's a little bit more type A, unfortunately, and can get kind of a little control freaky about time. It's just kind of one of the things I'm trying to work on. And it just had a very lovely message about being present and going with the flow a lot more when you're living your life. And I think it applies to sewing too. I think it's something that you can think about in terms of your hobbies and the tasks that you enjoy as well, and not just work. So I highly recommend it. Again, it's called Thyme Surfing by Paul Lumens. I believe he is Dutch, I want to say. And the book is translated into English and perhaps other languages as well. So highly recommend that. All right. Well, let's go into our next segment. And today we're doing a segment on sewing myths. So we're going to talk about the myth that muslins take too much time. So let's talk about this, Haley. Do you think there's any truth to this, or do you have any tips for speeding them up?
I think that people overcomplicate their muslins or their toiles, and that can take more time. I think that making a muslin is time well spent. Definitely. But there's certain things that you just don't need to include. Like for instance, if I were making a muslin for a button-up shirt for myself, I would draw on the pocket placement. I may not do the entire collar. I might just based on like a single layer version of the band and the collar. Same thing goes for the cuff. I wouldn't bother with the sleeve placket. I would bother with both sleeves so that I could assess shoulder fit, but I probably would do cuff on one sleeve and not the other. Things like that. Just being really strategic when you approach your muslins in that way, then you're going to like reduce your sewing time like by like a quarter. And I think it's time well spent on certain projects.
Yeah.
There's certain things I don't make a muslin for, and that's fine.
Yeah, I'm the same. If it's like something super loose fitting, where the fit is really not that big a factor, then I won't really, I don't need to bother with that.
Or something that I can easily adjust the fit as I sew.
Yeah. Or something I've made before.
Yeah.
A lot of my projects are things that patterns that I've made multiple times. And that really helps too, to speed things up. You don't need to test the fit every single time. I read something in Patty Lyon's knitting book, which is called Patty Lyon's Knitting Bag of Tricks, I want to say. It's a great knitting book if you haven't seen it. It's got tons of great tips and tricks and kind of approaches to things. But she talks about swatching. And I feel like for knitters, swatching is really similar to making a muslin. And it's something a lot of people want to skip. It's not that exciting. And she talks about it like you are basically building your fabric. So you are kind of designing the fabric of the sweater that you're sewing. And so why wouldn't you want to spend time doing that and making sure that the fabric is something that you actually want to make the sweater out of, and it's, everything about it is right. I think that's such a cool way of looking at it. And I think you can apply the same thing to sewing, that building your muslin is kind of part of the design process.
Yeah.
Figuring out exactly how you want things to be, where you want them to be placed, how you want it to fit your body. And that's all kind of part of the design process. So it's not something to be dreaded or just gotten through. Even though you can't speed things up, like you were saying, Haley, I think it's something that you can use as part of your, part of your intentional sewing practice. So those are our thoughts on muslins. We'd love to hear what you guys think, though. If you have thoughts about muslins, be sure to leave it in the comments on Spotify or in our Apple Podcast reviews, because I'd love to hear what you guys think. All right, well, let's talk about the new patterns we have coming out. We've got the Thyme and we've got the Rhoda. Do you want to talk about them a little bit, Haley?
Yeah, so Thyme is a popover shirt with a band collar. It has like a lot of like the classic fixings of a popover shirt. It's semi-fitted throughout with kind of a straight cut. Has bust darts, a shoulder yoke, a center back box pleat, and a band collar, like I mentioned. We also have a chest pocket, and then that partial placket at the center front neckline. That's like obviously the trademark of a popover. And then we have lovely full length sleeves that are finished with a cuff and a placket. And the member bonus for this pattern adds a two-piece like menswear style collar. So if the band collars are not your style, then you can definitely give the member bonus a try. And this looks really cute, worn buttoned all the way up or more open, and is just like a really great classic timeless piece. And then we have the Rhoda lined jacket. It's we've been calling it the Chanel jacket because it is very much like the traditional shape of a Chanel jacket. It has that boxier shape. It has a high round neckline, and the center front neckline and hem corners are just like slightly rounded and give it it's just like such a beautiful touch. It's slightly cropped and it hits right at the high hip. We have full-length sleeves on this pattern, and they're two-piece sleeves, which I think adds a really nice tailored touch. We also have a light shoulder pad in there to just add a little additional like structure and shape to the garment.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, it has a fully lined construction with hand-attached pockets with an option for edge stitching. We just wanted to give people a really great introduction to creating a bagged lining. So this jacket doesn't have any fussy collars or vents or anything like that. So it allows you, other than the lining, everything is fairly beginner friendly.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to create a jacket that allowed you to focus on that particular skill while still having some like really nice elevated elements like the two-piece collar or the two-piece sleeve, the shoulder pads, and the hand-attached pockets to just like really elevate the whole thing.
Yeah, I love a boxy jacket like that. I have one it's actually more of a sweater, but it's in that same shape. But it's in a knit, and it's just so nice to wear just with jeans and a t-shirt and dress up whatever you're wearing. It's so pretty.
Yeah, that was a lot of the inspiration on the mood board, was just like something that could really like elevate your sewing, but also just like elevate like a really basic outfit.
Yeah. And it looks great on so many different people, and, just a real classic.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. All right. Well, I want to share what we're doing this week on YouTube, but I don't know right now. I haven't planned out the videos that are coming out the same week because we're recording this a little bit in advance. So I don't know what videos are coming out this week, but I'm sure it's awesome. You can check out our channel and subscribe, because this year I'm planning to share more of my own projects and also how I wear them in real life and kind of the stories behind each project. I really want to do a lot more of that in 2026. So if you're interested in seeing what I'm making and kind of going with me on the journey of each project, then definitely go over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We're Seamwork Video over there, and we publish videos every single week, and it is my little home away from Seamwork is on YouTube. I love making videos for you guys, so definitely go over there and hang out with us. We also have Design Your Wardrobe, which is starting right about now. If you're a member, you can still join and catch up. If you're not a member, you can also join us and you can catch up. We're just starting, so that is something I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody's planning out for the next season. And then we also have a workshop coming up in March on advanced buttonholes. So I'm really excited about that one. If you're interested in learning more about buttonholes and really mastering buttonholes, this is going to be a great workshop. And our workshops are free to Seamwork members, so they're interactive, and you can do it along with us. Erica will be teaching this in March. And if you are not a member, you can purchase it in the following month in April. And as a member, you also get access to all of our past workshops as well. So you get all the recordings from our past workshops and all the materials that go with each one. All right, so that's really it. Be sure to check out the new patterns. Go over to seamwork.com if you're interested in seeing that popover shirt or the boxy line jacket, the Thyme and the Rhoda. Just go over to seamwork.com and click on sewing patterns to see the new ones, and they're available right now to Seamwork members. And if you're not a member, they'll be available in about a month, so they'll be available for purchase in March to non-members. And if you liked this episode, please leave us a review. I'd love to know if you guys like these kind of roundup episodes, these Seamwork Studio episodes. It's kind of fun just to chit chat and talk about what's going on and what we're sewing. So if you like that style of episode, let us know so we can make sure to keep doing them. And you can also follow us, as I said, on YouTube. We're at Seamwork Video. You can find us on Instagram at Seamwork. And if you want to become part of the Seamwork community, head over to seamwork.com to learn how to join. All right, well, that's it for us this week. I'm Sarai.
And I'm Haley.
And this is Seamwork Radio.